guys, today we are going to be doing something that I've been wanting to do for the longest time, and I don't know what's kind of held me back. I think it's just one of those things that I haven't found the right tutorial that I wanted to follow, so when I saw this I was like, yes, this is what we're doing. Today we're going to be following a Instagram tutorial from mmmmitchell. He is a British makeup artist. He is so talented. I cannot wait to try this out. I think this tutorial is going to work for me because we have sort of similar eye shapes. I wouldn't say that his eyes are as hooded as mine, but they're definitely hooded and like on the smaller side. I probably have a little bit more lid space than he does, but I think that his tutorials are probably the most suitable for me compared to a lot of other makeup artists out there, because I've tried to look for so many tutorials from Natasha Denona or from Pat McGrath or from Linda Hallberg, and like all of them are just not really suited for my eye shape, and it's really hard to find like fun tutorials for more hooded eyes. So I'm really excited to try this out. So I've found all of the things that I have in front of me here that I feel like is going to replicate the look the best. One thing I'm probably not going to do is like the small lashes under the eye. I think I'm going to skip that part, but other than that, I think I'm going to try to do all of it. So I've already done my base because he started with his base on as well, and I have on quite a sort of orangey shimmery blush because I thought that that would kind of be the most similar to what he was wearing. Obviously his base is different because I don't know what he used or anything because he didn't show it, but we're gonna mostly focus on eye because it is pretty intricate, and I think that this is going to take quite some time to get right, so don't want this video to be forever. So I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyes. He didn't show what he used. I'm guessing he used a P. Louise base, but I just don't really like that, so I'm gonna use my Smashbox primer here. And what I really like about this look is that it is so different than what you normally see on like Instagram type tutorials. Like, it's not like this insane cut crease with a huge wing and huge lashes. Like, yeah, he does do a cut crease, but it's kind of soft, and also he doesn't do a huge wing, which is basically what turns me off of trying to follow any tutorial ever online, because I can't do a big wing with my hooded eyes unless I really modify it, but then it's going to change the whole look. So for me to try to follow a tutorial that has a big wing is just impossible. So I've pulled out so many palettes here. I don't even really know which one it is that I want to use. I've pulled out a lot of my alter ego palettes because they are quite neutral. So I have the Goddess palette here, which is really nice. This is a dupe for the Natasha Denona palettes, basically all of these. So I think I'm gonna dip into some of these for the the creased part, because I think that there's the right tones in these palettes to do that. I do have a code with Alter Ego. I will have it on the screen. It's not affiliated, but if you've been looking for some cheaper dupes to Natasha Denona, these palettes are actually really good, which you'll see in this tutorial. So I think where I want to start is I'm going to take the Sephora palette here, and I'm going to dip into this color right here. I also want this to just be a tutorial to show you guys that if you want to follow a tutorial and you don't have what the person is using, just use what you have, because I'm sure you can find something that's going to be similar enough to what the person in the tutorial is using. You don't need to use the same things that other people are. So what he does is he basically puts this in a triangle in the outer portion of his eye, and he definitely wings it out quite a bit here. Now, obviously he uses a cream shadow, like I said, like a cream matte shadow, which is kind of weird, which I've never used that in my life. But he basically puts it in the outer corner of the eye in like a triangle shape, and then he really wings it out. So that is what I'm going to do as well. Now, of course, like I said, we do have different eye shapes, so I'm sure that my look isn't going to come out exactly like his, but that's totally okay. I'm just going to try my best and do what I can on my eye shape. So let's go up in this spot right here now. He definitely brings it up into his brows, and then he blends it in so that it almost meets up with the color that I put in the outer corner. He almost uses this as a bit of like a nose contour, which I've done that before with like colorful shades, but I've never actually tried it using more of like a neutral kind of color combo here. I'm really excited about this look. I feel like it's going to come out really, really cool. It's usually one of those kind of looks that I just can't be bothered because it's going to take so long, you know what I mean? Like, I'm more of a, I kind of just want to do like more wearable tutorials. I feel like since I'm doing tutorials online, like I want people to be able to follow them without it being like an Instagram tutorial, but since all of his looks basically are Instagram type looks, this is just going to take a little bit of time and finessing here, and it's not something that I would really do every day on my own. If you guys can think of any other makeup artists that are, you know, maybe famous, who do tutorials that are fun on clients with hooded eyes or on themselves and they have hooded eyes, please let me know. I'm not looking for everyday type tutorials for hooded eyes. Like, that doesn't really interest me at all. Obviously, I mean, if you've been on my channel for a while, you know that. because I like more fun looks. But if you know any makeup artists who use this models that do have hooded eyes, I would love to see like what they do and maybe what is possible on my eyes, because sometimes I get a little bit discouraged and it makes me not want to experiment as much just because I can't do the kind of looks that a lot of other people do that look so good on them. So I think this is where I'm going to leave this. I'm just going to make sure I really blend this into my brow here and make sure it's nice and blended. So basically what he does next is he takes a very warm tone, kind of orangey brown, but to me it really just looks like an orange. So I think I'm just going to use this color right here. This is from the Aurora palette. It's called Flare, and I'm going to use that to deepen up the outer corner and just see how that looks. I feel like in his video it looks like he uses more of a brown, but we're just going to try this and see what happens. So I'm going to take that in the very outer corner of my eye. Maybe I'm going to have to use some kind of a warmer tone brown here to get the same look that he has. So I think instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the same palette that I just used, and I'm going to grab the shade Fox here, which is more of like a warm brown, but I just feel like this is going to look closer to what he's doing in the video than what I was originally doing here. So I'm going to use this to deepen up the outer corner with, because I feel like this one is just a little bit deeper. And I'm trying to be quite careful on the outer corner because I know I'm going to go in and clean this up after, so I don't want to have too much to clean up. So what I'm kind of confused by is that he didn't really take any of the dark shade or any shade at all like in the middle of the crease. He kind of just left that blank open. So that would be interesting to see like how this comes together in the end. And he almost pulls it out all the way to his hairline, which I really like the look of that. I think that looks really cool. And for that yellow, I think I'm going to use the Aurora palette, and I'm going to take this yellow down here, which is almost more like an orangey yellow, but that looks very similar to what he used in his video. So I'm going to take a little bit of that in the inner portion of my eye because he definitely does that. And I'm also going to just kind of run that above the edges here and just really blend this out. Maybe I pulled this up a little bit too high, but it's okay. We're going to make this work. So what he does next is he takes his POV base and he uses this to do a bit of a softer cut crease, I would call it. It's not a very precise cut crease, but he just kind of lays down a base so he can put on the mattes on top of it. So that's what I'm going to do as well. So I'm not going to put on a lot of this, but I am going to make sure that I really open up my inner corner of my eye here, because it makes it very clear that this inner portion needs to be open. And then I'm just going to softly put this basically over my lid where I want to put down the matte shades. So I'm using a bit of a like softer edge brush to do this with, so that the line up here doesn't end up being super sharp, because that's not really what I think he was going for. So I completely missed the fact that he actually went in with the teal color before he cut his crease, but it's fine. It's going to end up looking the same probably. So the teal color that I want to use is from Annette Cosmetics. This is their Dragon Child palette. This is discontinued, but this teal is just so beautiful and I have to use it. This one is called Myth or Legend. So I'm going to use my Morphe E36 brush to apply this with. I'm first going to place it basically in between that brown and where I cut the crease. And then I'm probably going to go in with a bit of a fluffier brush to kind of try to blend these together. So from the video it looks like he pulls this through his crease just like the tiniest amount to make sure that things are blended. I'm just going to go back into my blending brush here and make sure that all of this is blended. He also takes this teal and he uses it to really wing out as well and kind of blend it over that outer corner shade. So this is when I was supposed to cut my crease, so I'm gonna actually go in with just a little bit more of that base and just kind of drag it over that blue again so that I have a little more room for the green to go next to it. I'm using so many different palettes here, you guys, but that's kind of what you have to do if you don't have what the person you're following is working with. You just kind of have to find what is going to be the most similar in your own collection. So I'm going to take my Melt Radioactive palette and I'm going to grab this green here because I feel like that looks pretty similar to what he is using. And he's basically putting that like right next to where you put down that teal color, but still leaving room for I think 2 more shades in the inner portion here. So I'm gonna kind of make sure I blend these together nicely. I'm just packing them on. I'm not really doing a lot of blending because I do want to make sure that everything is looking nice and pigmented. I'm also just blending this into my crease a little bit here just by tapping it. I'm gonna make sure that all of these colors are nice and blended together, but I just want to follow the steps first and like put down the colors, and then I can always go in and maybe finesse everything if I need to after. So I think next what he does is he goes into some kind of a light blue. So let's see, I think I'm gonna use my Pastel Puff palette, also by Menagerie. And he pretty much takes that on the rest of his lid, but just leaving a little bit of room in the inner corner for a white matte. So that is what I'm going to do as well. Now don't fuss too much about like what kind of brushes you're using, as long as you're using something that puts down the color nicely. That's really all that matters. That's why I don't always specify what brush I'm using, because it's more about the shape of the brush, and I feel like that's something you can normally see just by, you know, taking a look at what I'm doing. So I try not to mention my brushes too much because it's really not that important. It's just all about finding a brush that's going to work for you. And everyone has different eye shapes and different eye sizes, so I feel like different brushes are going to work for different people. So even if a brush maybe works for me shape-wise, it's not going to work for you. So it's all about just experimenting and trying to figure out like what it is that you like in a brush and what works for you. I love this color combination. I think this is so fun, and it's not something that I would have done myself, especially the placement of these. This looks so cool. So next I'm gonna take the white shadow in the Menagerie palette as well, this one, and this one is called Saddleback, and I'm just gonna put that in the first portion of my my lid basically, and just kind of open up my inner corner with that and blend it into the blue. What he does next is the one thing that I am the most scared of doing, because he does that little triangle liner like in the inner portion of his, like in the tear duct, and every time I've tried to put liner in that area, like my eyes will start watering, so I'm scared of ruining this eye look, but I'm gonna find a gel liner. I'm pretty sure I have a black gel liner, and see if I can do what he does. Pray for me, I'm not gonna be able to talk while I do that because I need to concentrate, but I'll try to show you what I'm doing at least. So he uses what looks to be an angle brush, but I don't have any angle brushes that are that thin, so I'm gonna use, I guess, this one from Linda Hallberg. It's just an eyeliner brush, it's nothing fancy. I'm scared, let's try to do this. Man, I don't know if this is for me. I feel like with my eye shape, like I literally have a crease that goes like right in here, and so it's very hard for me to go like above that crease or like over that crease without it looking kind of weird. But I think this is going to be as good as it's going to get. Maybe I need to take a little bit of concealer and just kind of clean up a little bit. I'm not really sure, but let's just move on and we'll see what happens. I don't love this. I feel like this kind of technique is just not really for me, but it's fun to try at least. So let's see, what does he do next? I think he goes in with a little bit of black shadow just on the outer portion of his upper lid here, just to create a bit of a smoky wing. So I'm going to use a black shadow to do that with, because I just feel like I'm gonna have a little bit more control using that. So I'm using a black shadow to do this with because I just feel like I'm gonna have a little more control that way. It might not end up being as black as the liner though, so we'll see. I'm gonna try to build this up and make sure that it is nice and smoky here. So I like that he sort of leaves the middle part of his lid open and he doesn't put any eyeliner all the way across. I think that's what's going to really make this look more elongated and more like a cat eye shape. Not gonna lie, I feel like this look is so much harder than I thought it was going to be. What is next? I think that what he does next is he cleans up the outer edges here. Yeah, so he takes a little bit of concealer and he just really cleans up the edge and makes sure that that is nice and blended out. And then he takes a new colored eyeshadow to just pat over. So I'm gonna take my concealer and a flat brush just like he did, and then what he does is he just stamps it on. Wait, how far up does he go? Okay, so he makes it quite a sharp line here. Now I don't wanna take away too much of the shadow that I have underneath because I don't want this to get messy, but I'm gonna try to clean up as much as I can here. So let's go ahead and put some powder under here and just make sure that we set this nicely. What he does next is he puts on some lashes, so I'm gonna go ahead and find some lashes that are possibly similar to what he has. Obviously my lash collection is pretty small and I don't really wear lashes a lot, so I'm not going to show you a tutorial on how to put on lashes because honestly I don't know how to do it myself. So fingers crossed I'm going to find some that are going to look good and I'll be able to put them on properly without really having any liner on because I've never done that before. So I'll be back I guess when my lashes are on. The lashes are somewhat on. I'm not happy about the application on this eye. I feel like when I blink it looks terrible, but I just don't really know how to fix it without ruining my makeup by taking off my lash. So we're just gonna leave it. It's not perfect, but that's okay. The lashes I use are the Flare lashes by Alter Ego. And then next up what we're gonna do, this is a very fun step and it made me realize that I probably shouldn't have pulled my black eyeliner like in and I should have just left it going this way, because now what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a neon pigment. I'm pretty sure what he used was a Suva like cake liner, but I don't have that, so I'm gonna use my Makeup a Murder loose pigment. This is a neon pigment, and what I'm gonna do to get this to be a liner is I'm going to mix a little bit of this with some Inglot Duraline, and then when I have a bit of a paste that's a good consistency here, we're gonna make a line basically underneath, right on the outer corner of the eye, as well as on the inner portion here. I'm just gonna take a look at the footage one more time to make sure I get this right. Alright, so let's start on the outer portion here. I'm so scared to do this because I just feel like I'm going to make a mess. I'm not good at very precise detail work. I really suck at doing stuff like this, and it's honestly why I never really do it, because I feel like I'm just so bad at it. Like this side turned out okay, but this side is just awful, and now I have to make sure they both look the same. And I think the consistency of this is just not great for this either. It would definitely be better to have an actual eyeliner to do this with. You know what? It is what it is. It's not perfect. I don't even know if I like it. But I realized I missed a small step, and basically what he does is he takes a little bit of what looks to be a black eyeliner just in the outer portion of his waterline here. And it also looks like he has a little bit of like a nude colored liner in his waterline or something. I can't see him put it on, but I feel like it's just something that's missing a little bit. So I'm just gonna pop a little bit of that like in the middle of my eye here. And my eyes are so sensitive, I feel like they're constantly watering. So I'm gonna quickly finish off with the eyes. I'm gonna just put on a little bit of mascara under my eye here. He also uses the same shade that he used for his brow bone highlight on his face, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm again going to go into my, if I can find it, Alter Ego Goddess palette, and I'm going to use this shade right here as my face highlighter. I feel like the more I do with this look, the less I like it. Honestly, I really liked it before I put on the lashes because I suck at putting on lashes, and I feel like sometimes it just ruins the look, which is why I don't like to wear them very often. But like I said, it is what it is. We're trying, that's all that matters. So let's go ahead and highlight a little bit. I don't love this as a face highlighter because it's so glittery, and it's obviously meant to be an eyeshadow topper, so it's not like the perfect highlighter, but I think it's gonna get the job done. So next what he does is probably going to be my least favorite step, because the way that he does his lips is something that I absolutely hate on myself. So he takes a very dark brown lip liner and then fills it in with a very nude lipstick and puts a gloss on top. So I don't have exactly the same colors that he has because number one, I don't have a lot of lip liners, and number two, I don't really ever buy nudes that are that light, but we're gonna try. I'm gonna use my House Laboratories liner in the shade Rule, and then I'm going to use my Revlon Super Lustrous Matte Lipstick in the shade Untold Stories. So I feel like this is going to be nude enough to have in the middle, at least for my liking. And then we're gonna find a clear gloss to put on top. So let me just go ahead and try to overline my lips a lot, because it's hard when you have very small lips to do like an ombre lip because it just looks weird. So I don't feel like mine is as light as his. Maybe I'll see if I have something that's even a little bit lighter than this. God, I just hate this kind of lip trend. I can't help it. If you do this, please don't be offended, but it's one of my least favorite things. Is like a very dark lip liner with a very nude glossy lip on the inside. I just can't. I'm gonna take a little bit of this Jeffree Star liquid lipstick. This one is in the shade I'm Nude, and I think this is going to lighten it up a little bit. Finish off, I'm gonna take a little bit of clear gloss and just put that on top. I'm gonna use my finger though because I don't want to put the doe foot back in after. Okay, so this is the completed look. Let me know how you think I did. I feel like I missed a couple of steps and I didn't do it in the correct order because I felt like I had it memorized and I really didn't. And I don't know if I like it with lashes. I honestly feel like I would like this look more without lashes because I feel like it just hides everything that I've done, and I was so happy with everything before I started with the lower lash line and like that stupid inner corner triangle. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I just suck at doing that. Maybe it's something I need to practice, but I don't even know if I like how it looks on me. I feel like it just looks a little bit messy, especially in the inner corner here. Maybe I just don't have the eye shape for it. I don't know. Do you have similar eyes? Have you tried this technique before? How does it work on you? Does it just take practice to get it right? I'm not really sure, but I love the idea of this look. The execution probably could have been better, but it was really fun to try, and now my desk is a mess and I really have to go clean up because doing looks like this is hard because there's so many things that you need to like mix together and make sure that it's looking the way it's supposed to look. So it was fun to try. Let me know how you think I did. I think I did okay, except for this lash being very crazy and this liner not being perfect, but it's fine. We tried. That's all we can do. So if you want to see more videos like this, please do let me know down below. And if there's any tutorials or anything like that on Instagram that you want me to follow, please tag me in them so I can check them out and see if they are suitable for my eyes. If you want to see some similar videos to this, maybe, I don't think I have any, but here's a few more videos you can watch if you are in the mood, and if you're new, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.